When I hear my favorite song, I know that we belong. 'Cause you are the music in me. It's living inside of us, and it's brought us here because you are the music in me. Na 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 na, na 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 na. You are the music in me. I'm gonna stop. My camera's gonna die soon. Hey, this is gonna be a long video. Get excited. I wanted to bring it back. I went back and watched some of my old videos, and I really enjoyed my energy and my, fun qualities that I don't have anymore because I'm deep and dark and ironic all the time. So I thought I would do a favorite book video because I talk a lot about the books that I'm currently reading or the books I've liked recently, but I want to talk about the books that I love and the books that mean a lot to me, and I thought I would start off by doing my favorite YA, my favorite adult books, and then I'll do like a nonfiction video later. This is off-center and it's driving me crazy. Okay, let's just get started. First book I want to talk about is a YA book. It's a YA book. It's called Ruby Red. It's this whole trilogy, the Ruby Red. I don't actually know what the trilogy is called. But it's by Kirsten Gier. It's translated from German. It was popular a few years ago on BookTube. I think Book Outlet had a sale, and it was like hot money. The point is, though, such a fun series. Time travel, London, exciting. It happens over the course of 3 weeks. Some insta-love, which isn't great, but it is just the most fun, and whenever I'm feeling like, kind of like that, I think, oh, I could read Ruby Red. I don't normally because I tend not to reread books very often, but I'm like, oh, I could read Ruby Red, and it would cheer me up inside my heart and soul. Just a fun series, and plus some of the most oddly shaped tall books I've ever seen. Next, an adult book that I will not talk about too much because I talk about it a lot anyway, The Magicians, and also The Magician King, which I read very recently, by Lev Grossman. Not Lev Grossman in 2012, not to brag, but to brag. He signed my book, and he was the nicest man. He wrote, "This book is for Emma, from Lev Grossman, Mischief Managed." The most starstruck I've ever been meeting an author was meeting Lev Grossman, because this book means so much to me. I love it so much. I know a lot of people have problems with it, and have issues with it. I know a lot of people do, but I just absolutely love it. I love it so much. I love how it deconstructs the fantasy genre in a really interesting way. I just love it. I think it's great, and I'm not, words. Okay, next is a YA book, again, going back and forth because I'm interesting that way. The Absolutely True Diary Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. Really freaking great book. I mean, it won a National Book Award for a reason. It is amazing. I think every young person should have to read this book. That's a big statement, but I'm saying it. It's beautiful and heartbreaking and like gets deep into your soul and just is like, argh. Such a good book. Such a good book. And if you've not read it, it is so quick, it's so easy, and it's one that I'd recommend for people who don't read YA or don't really like YA or have problems with YA because it transcends anything. It transcends YA, it transcends children's lit into something that's just culturally so important and wonderful, and I would just say read it. Okay, next, the Guernsey, I probably still said that wrong, Literary and Potato Peel Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. This is considered chick lit, which is just utter, I don't even want to talk about how much I hate that word, term. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. But this book is written in letters. It's set in World War II. It is this domestic story about life in World War II in this small island. It is fantastic and beautiful, and the characters are rich. There's a sweet love story. It's just a warm read. It's a beautiful read. It's heartbreaking and lovely, and this is a book I would say I would recommend for people who read a lot of YA and want to read something different. It's accessible and quick and just warm and fuzzy, and I think it's a great read if you're not always into literary fiction or adult fiction. Next, I talked about this my wrap-up, my favorite video for this year, for 2015, Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I also really liked Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, but I really like Since You've Been Gone. I love the friendship here. I love the fact you have this main female character who's really interesting and is going through something and dealing with something that feels very realistic and feels very wonderful. I like how her kind of crush on the boy does not overtake the entire story. It's truly about friendship. It reminds me of Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, which I recently rewatched. It is just fantastic. I've never actually read Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants because I tried and I just didn't get into it, but I love the movie. Anyway, Just great. Great, great, great. I'm so excited about her new book. Okay, next. The Well of Lost Plots. Really anything, though, by Jasper Fforde in the Air Affair series, and anything by Jasper Fforde ever. I love him. He's inventive. He's interesting. His writing is cool. The worlds he builds are just mind-blowing, and I'm like, why doesn't everybody read Jasper Fforde? His books are work. You have to spend a little time getting used to this environment because he throws you right in, but I think that says something about how much intellect he thinks his readers have, which I think is really awesome. I hate when things are over-explained. It's just great and imaginative, and it pours you into this world that you never knew could be possible. And the Air Affair series is the ultimate bookish book. Next, we have Hex Hall, and the entire Hex Hall series by Rachel Hawkins. One of my favorite books from my preteen, teen years. I read this book for the first time when I was 14, and it stayed with me. I love this entire series. I like Rebel Belle too, but I really hold a special place in my heart for Hex Hall. It's the cutest, most lovely series. It is so quick. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And she writes really wonderful main female characters, which I really love. You go, Rachel Hawkins. You go. Next, we have Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. I'm sorry this video is really long, but whatever. Love this book. Have been searching my entire life since I read this book in 2013 for another book like this one. I haven't found one yet. I've tried, but it hasn't happened. Maria Semple wrote a new book. It's amazing. It talks about culture. It talks about mental health issues. It talks about mothers and daughters. I'm sure you know what this is about, but it's about a girl named Bee, and her mother has disappeared, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her mother. It's satirical and interesting and funny, and funny, and very quick. And another book I think is really great for people who generally read YA to get into more adult reads if that's what you want to do, because it's incredibly quick. I keep saying incredibly quick. And accessible. Also, I keep saying that, but it is. Okay, and then Beauty Queens by Libba Bright. Really anything Libba Bright writes, except for I don't like that one series, but I love Beauty Queens and I love The Diviners. She's a great writer. Beauty Queens is fantastic. It is satirical. It is intersectional feminism in a great way. It's amazing and kick-ass and great, and if you haven't read it, guys, please read it. It is another book that I think is great for people who read a lot of adult literature to get into some YA. Beauty Queens is a wonderful sort of way in there, because it's so awesome. That's the best word I can use, and funny. One of my favorites. Also been trying to find a book that captures my feelings about Beauty Queens. Next, I'm so sorry this video is so very long. We have On Beauty by Zadie Smith. One of my favorite books ever. Beautiful. It talks about race and family. It talks about cross-cultural differences. It is fantastic, and at the end, very hopeful. It's a not a hard read, but it's a little darker than generally I read. But I absolutely loved it, and I think everyone should also read On Beauty. This might not be a great book to delve into if you read a lot of YA. I think this could be like the next step in the direction. The writing is absolutely gorgeous, and Zadie Smith is amazing. And then I don't have this book with me, but it's The Agency by Y.S. Lee, a really fantastic historical fiction series about a girl in Victorian times who's half Chinese and who has to deal with the consequences, the racial consequences of the fact, or like the racist of other people. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but she's half Chinese, living in Victorian London, and she's also a crime-fighting detective having to hide, and she's like a woman, and it's so wonderful and great, and if you haven't read it, it's one of my favorite things. And then my last favorite adult book is The Lexicon by Max Perry. Just a fun, cool, exciting book. Just so enjoyable. I mean, I can't really say much else except for it's really enjoyable and weird and fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. What are your favorites? I'm going to do another one of these for nonfiction and other ones and classics. Anyway, have a wonderful day.